Hello, friends. Today on the Gen X Spotlight, I'm so excited to interview America's usable AI expert, Susan Frew. Susan is someone that I've known for quite a few years, and it was just a few years ago that she literally dove headfirst to learn everything she could about AI and not just learn it on a conceptual basis, but she's a business owner and she transformed her whole company by using AI for their processes and, procedures. And today she's here with us to share some of these best practices. And we're going to be talking about why it's so important for Gen X and how it can help us in both our professional and our personal development. So, Susan Frew, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm delighted to be here. And, I love talking about AI whenever I can. But, I think that there's some other things we're going to go through today, which are even equally important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's start a little bit with you. Like, what was it that you realized that this AI is going to be a game changer? Because not only did you adapt it and learn it, but now you teach it and you're speaking globally all over, teaching businesses how to actually use AI, which is so important, right? So, will you share a little bit about your story and when it finally clicked, like, wait a minute, this is going to change everything?
Well, a lot of people forget, Violet, that my background is in tech. So I started as a sales rep many, many, many years ago in New York City with AT&T Wireless, and it was so long ago that it was called Macaw Cellular.
Mm.
And our biggest clients were Wall Street, the Diamond District, and the Mafia. And then, because they were the only people who could afford phones back then.
Hey, if
But
they got the budget.
exactly. And so the fun part about that was, I really just got on the technology bandwagon. And even back then, we were learning a little bit about wireless data, and we were talking about how it was going to change the world as
Yep.
we were tethering our computers to our phones to try and make wireless data work. But that's always been my love. And then when I came back from my international assignment, I bought a business coaching franchise. And once again, all my clients, I talk about, technology, doing it better, faster, cleaner, what have you. And it's just really always been woven into my life, my whole life. So it's been really cool.
I love that. And I love, like, you're a Gen Xer, right? And you are a technology expert. And that's something you don't, I mean, they're out there, but it's rare because
Well,
a lot of the Gen X community, because we were kind of like the sandwich generation. Like we started with analog and then we went digital, so we're adapters, but a lot of us, I think, are afraid of it, resist it. And so what a beautiful example of a Gen Xer that embraced technology and wow, like look at you now. So will you share with us what?
I just need to come clean. I am on the cusp of boomer X. So I'm right there,
We'll
right there.
accept you. We'll
It
accept
all
you.
depends.
Well, I believe it's 1965 to 1980. So I think you're in, girl. You're in with us. But regardless, I mean, that's even more impressive if you identify as a boomer because I think the older we
No.
get, the harder it is. And I think you're way more Gen X because you're a cool kid like us.
Uh,
So, will you share with us when it was that you realized, like, did you realize first that this could be a speaking opportunity for you? Or did you realize first you wanted to transform your whole business? And then when you did it and you saw the results, then you wanted to go and teach others how to do it. How did that work?
okay, so here's the short story. 2 years ago, I was out doing speaking and having a great time, and post pandemic, I was talking about a lot of different things, and then I felt like I needed to go back into our plumbing company and try to turn it around so that we could sell it. And my husband loves being a technician and loves that part, but the office part was never his idea. So I took really a time out from my speaking career and went back to the plumbing company and really started automating things. But then my husband ended up getting really, really sick and he almost died.
Oh,
So us using the AI became imperative. And what we ended up having to do in order to get ready to either sell or liquidate so we could pay off debt that we'd accumulated in the business is we really needed to get lean, lean, lean so that we could have the money to move on. And so that's what we started doing. And that's where the AI came in. AI bookkeeper saved 2 grand a month. AI answering service, AI marketing, because we were spending like 10 grand a month on pay-per-click ads. I had a couple of old domains that I was able to reactivate and move 4 blocks south, which saved us a ton of money. And so that's the plan. And the goal is, because my husband really it can't run the company. I love what I'm doing, but then that sort of turned into something, right? So as I learned how to do this stuff, now I can teach other people
yeah.
how to do it. And
Yeah.
my ADHD really has helped a lot. And as I jokingly say, Diet Coke and ADHD meds. That is my secret
That's how
sauce
you
right
run,
there.
girl.
That's exactly. And it's going to be a very busy week. So I've got a little refrigerator over there, and it
Hey,
is
whatever floats your
it's my
boat,
Coke. Yeah.
whatever makes it happen. Well, you brought up your ADHD, and that's something that I wanted to definitely talk about because this weekend, as I shared with you, I was doing research for the Gen X network and diving into the mental health crisis, which I thought like, yeah, we struggled with mental health, our generation. But what I discovered that the numbers are really shocking. And the numbers were that Gen X has the highest suicide rate of all generations. We have the highest depression rate of all generations. And we have the highest addiction rate of all generations.
Yeah.
And I personally feel that I know it's sounds like a jump, but I feel like AI is here to save the Gen X generation, to help us develop our professional skill set, because a lot of us are finding ourselves getting aged out of the workplace or at dead end jobs, or we can't find a job. We send out 300 resumes. So when we know AI, now we're in demand. Now we're relatable, right? Like now people actually want to advance us to higher roles. But I think equally as important, and this is where I'd love your insight, I feel that AI can really help us personally with our personal development. And so, will you speak on that just a little bit as someone who has struggled with mental health and how AI, you see it as this guiding light, for us, our generation?
Well, something to just add on to that. I don't even know if you're aware of this, but I have been working with Dr. Sally Spencer Thomas, who is the preeminent worldwide expert on suicide prevention. And she after her brother took his life because of a business failure, that became her mission in life. And she flies all over the world. She did 150 speaking engagements last
Wow.
year on suicide. And we've been working on a book called Entrepreneur Aftershock. And it really speaks to what you just said, because there's so many entrepreneurs that struggle with mental health. Because, first of all, with the ADHD, we sometimes become unemployable. Right
Yep.
here, like most bosses don't want you bouncing around like a maniac, like, woo, look at all these things that we're doing. Trying to like reel us in is difficult. And that's why there's so many self-employed people. So I have ADHD, which I've probably had my whole life undiagnosed until about 5 years ago, thankfully. I definitely have some OCD tendencies, and I've got a little dyslexia, which really made sense to me. And the AI has helped so much because with the dyslexia part, especially with numbers, the AI can read a whole bunch of jumbled numbers and it will figure it out and it will help you.
Yeah.
It will help you to create a budget.
Yes.
It will help you to communicate your ideas. And my number one AI tool is my microphone,
Yeah.
because I just speak in there what
I
I'm
know.
thinking,
Yeah.
yeah, stream of consciousness,
Yeah.
throw up on it, and then the AI fixes it for me. So,
Well, and I love that you said that because I'm in a lot of AI groups and they're always giving prompts, prompt this, prompt that, prompt that. And I'm like, am I the only one that just speaks to AI as if it's my trusted advisor, my coach, my lover, my friend, my colleague? I just speak into it because I'm very verbal. I communicate much better verbally. And AI, to your point, does all the heavy lifting. And I think as someone who also has ADHD and wasn't diagnosed, I think what we are at the end of the day are visionaries, right? Like we have a lot of ideas. We get excited about a lot of things. And I think with AI, and this is so true, like look at what you've been able to achieve and accomplish. It allows us to take those ideas and actually implement them and execute them and get results because ideas without execution is never going to lead us anywhere, right? And then we get depressed because, well, again, something didn't work out for us. So, how has AI really helped you from a productivity perspective and really like self-esteem, girl? Because I've seen a big difference in you just in the last 5 years. Not to say like you didn't have self-esteem, but there's this knowing about you and there's this execution that I see from you on a daily basis. And so I'd love to know like what it feels like on the inside, now that you have AI and you have the confidence that any idea you have, you can implement, execute, and achieve.
Well, the good news is for anyone who is Gen X and before or after, what have you, is that a lot of older people, like you just said, Violet, we communicate and get better results from our AI, and there are studies on it because we know how to communicate verbally. And the younger generations are the thumb generation, the type generation, and they're prompting like they're playing a video game, and that's not the way it works. It works in long form, very specific conversational turn, large language model. Bam. And that's the fun. And I like to say that I'm people's tour guide on how to use AI. And I built a GPT last year. I haven't done much with it, but we'll see where it goes. It's called Granny GPT. And it says it teaches old people not to be afraid of AI. And seriously, don't be afraid. Like let's use it a little bit,
Yes.
like anything, you need to be cautious and trust yet verify. So don't be like throwing all your personal information into deep seek and not thinking it's going to go anywhere in a bad place.
That's right. That's right. Well, I would love if you could share with us maybe two or three. You could share your screen, share with us some of your best productivity hacks, whether it's for professional development, personal development. I'm going to let you share here because I would love to have our viewers see all the incredible ways that you actually use AI and make it usable.
Okay, well, so Violet, I'm going to give you something to do here. You're gonna help in this presentation.
Love it.
My One of my favorite AIs, and this could be like it's my favorite AI because it's so ADHD, and it's called ChatHub.gg. And folks, if who are listening, make sure you say GG because .com is a porn site, and I do not want Violet getting hate mail or anything like that. So check this
Thank
out,
you.
guys. Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of different consolidators out there that do this very thing, but what you're able to do here is for I pay $19 a month for this, is to use all of these AIs that you see over on the left, and you can put them in all of these boxes. So we've got GPT 4.0. I think I'm going to move that down to Turbo, Claude 3.7 Sonnet.
So can I
Okay.
clarify something? So if I'm paying
Sure.
19.99 just for ChatGPT, I could cancel that, get this, and get all of these for 19.99.
You could. I personally don't. I wouldn't do it because I have built a lot of custom GPTs inside of my account. Now there is a way now where you can sign into your own account on all of these if you already have one
I
and
see.
transfer the data over. But I like keeping it separate. I don't mind paying
Okay.
for both.
Okay.
So we've got GPT Turbo, Claude, Gemini, which is Google, which is one of my favorites, Grok, which is Twitter, X, Elon Musk, DeepSeek is the evil one we keep hearing about
Yep.
on the news, and then Llama, which is AI or Meta. Okay. So being you are a prompt lady, give me a good prompt here, Violet, and we will
Okay.
watch how this goes.
I would like to research the mental health crisis of Gen Xers and the problem, the cause, and yeah, let's just do some research on Gen Xers and mental health, suicide rates, depression, addiction, all that
Oh,
stuff
mental health. Oh, wait, mental health and statistics.
for Gen X.
Where? Okay. All right, people. Ready for this? Hang on
I'm
to your
ready.
hats.
I'm
Watch how
ready.
it goes. Boom.
Woo! Woo! I love this. Okay, so question for you. So I did
Yes.
research over the weekend and I used Perplexity Deep Search. And it took
Mhm.
a while to go through and I get found 68 sources. So are these doing the same thing or are they just kind of making it up based on what people searched or are they going and actually digging through articles? And if so, how are they able to go so fast? Because deep search on Perplexity takes like 6 to 8 minutes for me
Okay.
to get all the info.
Okay, so the deep research models really, so they are actually thinking, they're
Right.
reasoning. So you'll see that on ChatGPT, it's reasoning, right? And just as if you were watching a person with a PhD sitting next to me right now and ask them to solve a problem, they would go through all of those ways to solve that problem in their head, and they might even
Mm,
use Scratchpad or what have you. Like they're seriously thinking through the problem. And prior to that, it was just grabbing information. And
I
that's what
see.
the others are doing. So this is actual, and this is what everyone's concerned about,
Right. Right.
because it is now learning to reason. It is learning to think like a human. And prior to that, it was just working like a big giant search engine basically, and then
Mm,
transforming that information into a valuable output. But and the deep research is amazing and fun. Interesting thing, I had a consultation the other day about doing a speaking engagement for a prospective new client, and prior to meeting I went on ChatGPT's deep research and I did all of my research on them, and I found out about their company. I wanted to know about their event, any people that worked for them, and I put it into deep research, and boom, it gave me all this information. And then when I was having a conversation with them, I was bringing up all these little tidbits, and they're like, wow, like where did you get all this stuff? And I said, well, if I was not an AI speaker, I would not be willing to share this with you. However, let
yeah.
me show you how I got all this information on your company. And they were like, what?
Wow.
That is
Sold.
genius.
Sold.
I know, I
I
know, I
love
know.
it.
So
It gives
yeah,
great insight and insider information that, that's why I say when it comes to sales, there's really no such thing as cold outreach unless you're lazy and not willing to do the research, right? So
mhm.
that was super helpful. Susan, is there anything, I know you often teach like different ways to just drive productivity. You have a ton of productivity hacks. I love what you just shared. Do you have another one that you can share with us?
So most entrepreneurs and business owners, regardless of what generation you're from, don't particularly love doing numbers. Okay, so they don't want to do their finances. Not maybe not want is a strong word, but maybe that they just aren't
A numbers
um
person.
yeah, it's just like they stare at it and like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So I have built a couple of these. So
Okay.
I will show you this one. So I did a speaker CFO for myself and some of my speaker friends that I was working on. And what it did is I built in here all of the key performance indicators
Nice.
that go behind the scenes. So, what is your average fee? What's your closing ratio? How many people do you need to speak to? What's your revenue projection for next year? And then, what you can do in here now is you can take an Excel spreadsheet of your numbers from last year, just cut them out, jumbled up, and throw it in here, and
Wow.
it will give you your budget. But I'm just going to say, I plan 30 more engagements this year, and my closing ratio, oops, is 85%. How
Nice.
many proposals and finance. See how, I can talk to it all the time. I never type. So, uh,
Same, same. I
okay.
can't catch my words when I'm trying to type.
Yeah.
So,
And I
Susan,
would
you
say,
don't really use prompts either. Like you just talk into it, correct? Even when you're making a custom GPT, is that accurate? You talk into what you need instead of a prompt like so
well,
many.
I get a little bit more complicated when I'm making a GPT. So, like, look at all this formula stuff that I
Yeah,
put in the back end,
nice.
right? So, and I've already built that on the back end. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like, I've already put all this stuff in there.
This is
So there's
awesome.
revenue projections, recommendations.
I love the
Um,
recommendations. That's wonderful.
oh, yeah. So that's one of the things that, I mean, you can use this for any business.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use it for, you have to just know your numbers. How many leads? What do you want? What's the outcome
It's
that you want?
basically reverse
And then back
engineering
into
it
it.
for you, essentially.
Exactly. And when
I
I
love
teach it,
it.
that's how I explain it. Yep.
I love it, Susan. I mean, it's such a helpful tool for business owners. I
Hmm.
think today when I think about all the tools that we business owners have, with AI, just with AI, you can't even compare. I mean, I say it, I know you believe it. We have had a complete revolution in the workplace, a business revolution, a sales revolution. And I believe with AI, we can even have a personal revolution. And that's why I was so excited to dive into this with you. Susan, is there any last words of advice that you have for our Gen X community, whether it's for their personal or professional development, using AI, or anything that right now like really feels strong for you that you'd like to share?
Well, just dive in there. And here's the other thing. People say, I haven't been paying the $20 a month. So if you could get the brightest star of an assistant, a PhD level assistant for $240 a year, would you do it?
Right?
So
No
why are
brainer.
you holding back on the $20? Come on.
That's right.
You're jumping over the dollars to pick up pennies. So
That's
I
right.
think that that's my number one advice. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And Susan, where can people find you? I know you're all over
Uh,
LinkedIn, but what is the best way for someone if they want to learn from you, if they want to learn more usable AI business tools, where can they go to look for you?
Well, everything on all my platforms is Susan Frew Speaks. So that's my website, my Twitter, my LinkedIn, my Facebook, all the above. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us
yeah.
today on the Gen X Network. I've really enjoyed this conversation, as I always do, connecting with other AI experts and just seeing the transformation that you're creating in the workforce. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you
Thank you,
come back
Violet.
again. All right.
Okay.
Again, if you enjoyed this video, friends, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another tip on how to innovate, elevate, thrive, and rock on.